The storm rolled in just past 7, washing the sky with steel-colored clouds and drenching the streets in heavy rain. Inside Dove's diner, the world was quieter, humming with the soft clinks of cutlery and the low murmur of tired conversations. Lux moved behind the counter like clockwork. 25, all nerves and coffee stains. She wore her burgundy polo and name tag like a second skin. Life hadn't been kind, but she'd built herself a routine sturdy enough to survive on. Every day she showed up, every shift she stayed late, and every night she walked home alone with her thoughts and too little in tips. The bell above the door chimed sharp, clean like a warning. She looked up instinctively and saw him. He didn't look like he belonged. Not here, not anywhere this ordinary. Tall, clean-shaven, dark coat tailored to perfection. Shoes that had never seen dirt. A man who carried the weight of secrets in his eyes and shadows in his silence. He stepped inside slowly, scanning the room as if expecting danger to leap from the walls. Then he glided to the booth in the farthest corner, away from everyone. His presence made the hairs on Lux's neck rise. She took a deep breath, grabbed a menu, and walked over. "Evening," she said, her voice calm, despite her pulse. "Coffee?" The man didn't answer, just gave a curt nod, eyes never lifting. Lux frowned slightly, but turned and made her way to the counter. "Oh?" She poured the coffee, her hands steady from years of repetition. But something about him bothered her, his silence, his posture, the way he sat like someone waiting for news. Or maybe someone waiting for a target. She returned with the coffee, placing it gently on the table. "I'll give you a minute with the menu." Still no response. Just a slight lift of his fingers in acknowledgement. She walked away. Irritation quietly gnawing at her, but more than that, curiosity. Who was he? And what was someone like him doing in a run-down diner in a no-name town? Lux couldn't help but glance over again. The man had pulled out a phone, sleek and black, and turned slightly away. He spoke in a low voice, almost a whisper, but the diner was quiet. Too quiet. And then she heard it. "Lux." "Yeah, Ria's girl. She's here." Around the glass she was cleaning, her chest turned hollow. It wasn't a coincidence. He had said her name. Not just her name, but her mother's too. The mother who had died 9 years ago. The mother who had told her nothing about her past. Buried along with her body, Lux stepped behind the kitchen swing door and pressed herself against the wall. Her mind raced. Who was this man? And why was he talking about her like she was some item on a list? She peeked back through the window. The man, still calm, still sipping his coffee, ended the call and slowly slipped the phone into his coat pocket. Then for the first time he looked up. Their eyes met, and he smiled. But not a warm smile, not friendly or polite. It was small. Knowing, like he had read a page of her life she didn't know existed. Lux's stomach twisted. She turned away quickly, walking back toward the coffee machine, heart thudding so loudly she thought the other waitresses might hear it. But no one noticed. Just another customer, just another night. Only it was. Has trembled as she fumbled with the cups. The voice in her head was relentless. How does he know my name? How does he know my mother's? Who is he? She couldn't wait any longer. By the time she turned around, the booth was empty. The man was gone. The coffee sat untouched, steaming quietly in its cup. On the table, tucked under the edge of the napkin holder, was a $100 bill, and nothing else. That night, Lux barely slept. She lay on her back in her one-bedroom apartment above the laundromat, staring at the cracked ceiling as the rain pelted the windows. Her mind replayed the call again and again. Lux, Ria's girl. It didn't make sense. Her mother had never spoken about her past. Lux had been born in this town, raised in this diner, and buried her mother before she ever got answers about who her father was. Or why her family always seemed... ... She got up around 3 a.m. and pulled an old shoebox from her closet. Inside were the only things her mother had left behind: photos. A half-burned diary, a locket that no longer opened. She flipped through the photos, looking for clues, Then she saw it. A photograph she had never noticed before, stuck behind the frame of another. It was worn, creased in the center, but the faces were clear. Her mother Rhea smiling, standing beside two men. One of them. Lux felt her breath catch. It was him, the man from the diner, younger, rougher around the edges, but definitely him. And beside him, teenage boy with bright eyes and a smirk that tugged at Lux's heart. Next, her little brother, the one who disappeared when she was 19. The one everyone assumed was dead or had run away. The one they never found. Lux sat down, hard knees giving out beneath her. The photo trembled in her hands. Why had her mother hidden this? Why had he come back? And what did he want now? The next morning, Lux's hands were sore from gripping the photo all night. Her eyes were dry, but her chest ached like grief had found a fresh place to hide. She hadn't seen her brother Nix in 6 years. She remembered the night he vanished. He was 16, full of trouble and fire, angry at the world, and even angrier at their mother. He left home after a brutal argument with Rhea and never came back. Lux had spent years wondering, was it her fault for not stopping him? Did something happen out there? Had he run away? Now the photo made one thing terrifyingly clear. Jet, the man in the diner, was connected to both her mother and her missing brother, and he knew more than he said. By noon, Lux was back at the diner. She couldn't eat, couldn't think. Her manager gave her a look when she clocked in. Late, but she didn't care. Every clang of the door made her flinch. Every glance at the booths made her stomach tighten. And then, just like before the bell rang, he was back. Jet stepped inside, like a man returning to familiar territory. Calm, watchful, dressed sharp again, but different today, more casual. Still expensive, still dangerous. Lux gripped the counter until her knuckles whitened. She didn't wait. No nerves this time. She marched over to his booth, photo in hand, her breath like fire in her throat. She slapped the picture on the table. Why? Are you in this? He didn't flinch. She just looked at the photo like it was an old friend he'd buried long ago. You've been digging? Said my name? You knew my mother? You were with my brother. Tell me what the hell's going on? Jet looked up. His eyes weren't cruel. They were tired. Like he hadn't slept in years. Your mother? Rhea wasn't who you thought she was? Lux swallowed. She worked for the government. Or tried to. Undercover. She got involved with people who weren't exactly fans of law and order. Was one of them. He paused. But I wasn't the worst. Lux's knees weakened. She sat across from him. So you were? What? In a gang? Worse. We were cleaners. We took out whoever got in the way. But your mom, she wanted out. He leaned forward, voice low. She gave them intel. Fed them names, locations, secrets. She thought she could take them down from the inside. Lux shook her head. That's not possible. She was a waitress. A single mom. Exactly perfect cover. He pulled something from his coat, a small metal object, a pendant. Lux's throat caught. It was her mother's. The locket that never opened. He clicked it once, gently. A hidden hinge revealed a microchip, long corroded with time. She kept everything in there. Tears blurred Lux's eyes. Then why did she die? Why did Nix disappear? Jet exhaled, like the weight of it all sat on his back, because she tried to leave. And when they found out she made a deal. What kind of deal? He looked away. Her silence. For your brother. The world fell silent around them. The hum of the diner faded. Nix didn't run away, Lux whispered. No, he was taken. Used as leverage. To control Rhea. And when she couldn't hold on any longer, he didn't finish. Lux's voice cracked. And where is he now? Jet's jaw tightened. Alive, but not the boy you remember. She stood up fast, knocking her chair into the booth. Take me to him. Jet hesitated. Lux, he's not safe. He doesn't remember anything. He's been broken. I don't care. I'm his sister. Their eyes locked. Finally he nodded. Double quotes. Tonight after your shift, I'll send a car. Stood. Pulled out $100. bill again, and set it on the table. Some truths don't set you free, Lux. They leave scars you can't close. That evening, as the sun bled behind the hills, Lux waited outside the diner with her jacket zipped up and heart caving in. A sleek black car pulled to a stop. The driver, tall, muscular, silent, opened the door without a word. His name was Zed. Though no one said it out loud, Lux stepped inside. The ride was long. They passed city lights, then fields, then empty roads with no signs, no GPS. Finally, they pulled up to a warehouse surrounded by nothing but silence and shadows. Zed opened the door. Jet was already waiting. No words. They walked together inside. Boots echoing on concrete. The inside was nothing like she expected. Rows of monitors, flickering security feeds, files, maps, people in quiet suits, moving around like ghosts. Then, room. A reinforced door, red light above the frame. He's in there, Jet said. Lux stepped forward, hand trembling. Is he safe? He won't hurt you, but don't expect him to recognize you. The door clicked open. She stepped inside, and there he was. Sitting at the far end of the room, pale, older, hair shaved close. Eyes hollow. Nix. Lux gasped. Nix. He looked up. And for the first time in 6 years, their eyes met. But there was no spark. No flicker of recognition. Just silence. Do I know you? He asked, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Do I know you? 6 words. That's all he gave her. No recognition, no flicker of the mischief that once danced behind his eyes. Just a stranger's stare, cold, quiet, distant. Lips parted, but no words came. Her heart ached to rush across the room. To wrap him in the kind of hug that only sisters give, the kind that says, I never stop looking for you. But she didn't move. He didn't flinch. Just tilted his head like she was a puzzle piece from the wrong box. Jet stood silently at the doorway behind her, watching, waiting. Lux swallowed back the lump in her throat and stepped forward, voice barely above a whisper. It's me, Lux. Your sister. Nix blinked slowly and looked away. I don't have a sister. It hit her harder than she thought it would. Like a punch from inside. Yes, you do, she said, her voice cracking. You were 16 when you disappeared. You used to ride a beat-up red bike. You hated pickles. You, her voice broke, you used to call me Looney Lux. Nothing. She reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out an old photo, the two of them at the lake. Mud Street, laughing. Remember this? Mom took it. It for a long time. His eyes narrowed, lips twitching slightly. Then he pushed it away. I don't know who that is. I don't know you. Lux turned away, hands shaking, tears burning hot behind her eyes. She stumbled back toward Jet, who hadn't moved. What did they do to him? Jet's jaw clenched. They broke him, piece by piece. Rewired him. Isolation, indoctrination, threats. They used your mother against him, made him believe she betrayed him. She didn't, I know, Jet said. But they made him forget everything else. Lux's breath hitched. Can it be undone? Jet's silence was the answer. Over the next several days, Lux stayed. She visited Nix every morning, sat with him for hours, told stories, showed him pictures, played the music they used to dance to as kids. She laughed through tears, held his hand when he let her, and some days he almost smiled. Almost, but something was missing. A door had been sealed in his mind, and whatever was behind it, memories of family, love, childhood, was lost in shadows. Jet told her the truth. The people who did this are still out there. They knew you were here, Lux. They'd come for you. For him, Lux didn't care. She just wanted her brother back. One morning, she found a sketch on the table in Nix's room. It was rough, childlike, 2 stick figures standing under a tree, one with a ponytail, the other holding a kite. At the bottom, a shaky word written in pencil, Looney. Lux's heart exploded. She clutched the paper like it was gold. She rushed to Jet, smiling through sobs, he remembers. He remembers me, but Jet didn't smile back. His face darkened. Lux, I think they know you're here. That night they moved Nix. New location? High security? Lux wasn't allowed to follow. They promised to keep her updated. Jet handed her a burner phone and said, simply, "We'll call." Weeks passed. The calls never came. She tried the number dead line. She went back to the diner. To her old life, but she wasn't the same girl. Every shift felt like walking through fog. Every sound of the bell above the door made her heart jump. But Jet never walked in again. One afternoon, after wiping down the counter for the third time in a row, Lux found a note tucked under the sugar container. A single folded page. No envelope. No name. You were never supposed to know, but you deserved the truth. Her fingers trembled as she read it again and again. No goodbye, no location, no promise, just a closed door. Lux went home that night and sat on her apartment floor, surrounded by photos, drawings, and a small cardboard box labeled Nix. Inside, the sketch he drew, his old bike key, and the photo she'd shown him 1,000 times, the one of them at the lake. She stared at it long into the night, praying that somewhere some part of him still remembered her, that maybe one day he'd call. Years later, Lux never left the town. She kept working the diner, quietly, alone, a little older, a little wiser, but every time it rained, she thought of the man in the black coat, the call that changed everything. The brother she almost got back. She never told anyone the full story. Not her coworkers, not her future. It became a scar she carried. Privately, the kind that doesn't heal. Some truths bring peace, some bring closure, and some just burn your life to the ground. I asked for answers. I found them. And I lost more than I ever thought I could, if I could go back. I'd still follow him, because sometimes even a broken truth is better than a beautiful lie.